Greetings, my silicone sharmutas. Oh, what? Now I'm insulting my audience, even my newfound followers here on YouTube? I didn't mean to do that, but honestly, folks, I've had one of the worst afternoons, one of the worst Saturdays I could ever fathom in a long time. And now I'm here in front of my favorite webcam that likes to follow me around, as it's doing so right now, venting my anger. And I'm going to be as not so on the microphone, but that might be, I can't hold my actions totally accountable for this, but I'm talking about Clair Obscur Expedition 33. And this, now when I saw this story, I just thought this cannot be true, right? This has got to be a troll. So apparently the people behind it, Sandfall Interactive, who by the way are made up of ex-Ubisoft developers, have been called out for being racist because, well, I'll get into that. But if you end up enjoying this video today, folks, leave a like below, smash that subscribe button, and here we go.
These women ain't nothing like them nowhere.
Sexism in gaming. Without a doubt, there will be backlash because I'm not as bangable as the previous host.
Her voice may be almost as important to gamers as Lara's double pistols, curves and skimpy shorts.
Kung Fu Hot Dog is a Kung Fu renegade cop. Now he must defeat the most evil Kung Fu master in the world.
Now we have the opportunity to tell a new Indiana Jones story for a modern gaming audience.
Get ready for a new world of unspeakable adventures.
Said, Mummy, I like the way the lady runs.
Get ready for a new world of unspeakable adventures, never before shown in a motion picture. Get ready for Kung Fu Hot Dog.
Alright, no retreat, no surrender.
I want to say there was a discussion about maybe a month ago where someone on X stated that Expedition 33 is a woke game because, oh no, there's black people in a historically RPG set fantasy in Paris, France. It's not claiming to be a realistic game, historically accurate, where the demographic was a certain race of people at the time. No, Sandfall Interactive brought in black folks into a fantasy RPG. When I did an initial reaction to the trailer, I had no issues with it whatsoever because even a simpleton like me knows it's purely fantastical. Doesn't matter, actually breaks up the diversity of the game, right? I understand completely where the developers are coming from on that one. So on Reddit, Sandfall Interactive, Clair Obscur devs make their values known. Now, what they're saying here is, that's the developers, we've noticed discussions online concerning us and our values. So we want to make this absolutely clear, as opposed to Clair Obscur. Expedition 33 was created with respect and tolerance by teams and partners from diverse backgrounds, cultures and perspectives. I like the fact they don't actually mention genders or ideology. That's a very discreet way of stating that fact. Our game was crafted with love. Please don't weaponize it to spread hate. Well, unfortunately, Sandfall Interactive, that's probably too late because there are people out there who are definitely calling this out. In fact, the one guy, I'm glad I've forgotten his user handle on X, who said, well, you can't have black people in this game because it's not historically accurate, when he forgets the fact that it's an RPG fantasy. Now, case in point, ladies and gentlemen, as a teenager in 1983, when Dungeons and Dragons appeared on the BBC, that's how I saw it. When I saw these lovable reprobates right here, led by the handsome Eric. No, Eric was this dude right here, wasn't he? I forgot who this guy was in the middle, actually. But Diana the Acrobat, black chick, good looking, actually. Did I sit there thinking, oh no, it's a black person in a cartoon that I want to be all white? No, I didn't think that way because I wasn't that way ignorant. I mean, now as I've gotten older, you know, things do creep up and you do wonder why things are so shoved in your face right now. Hank the Ranger, that's it. Wow, I mean, it kind of fits with the persona, right? But I love this cartoon series, and this is 1983, where they love to have gender in there because, as you know, as a person of color, you might think, oh, this is really cool. You know, I was brought up on white culture anyway, white pulp culture. I've said that many times on my channel here, and I don't apologize for it. There's no need to apologize for it. And I'm glad I was, because you see things from a different perspective, or you see from the same perspective, just giving your different avenues on it, the avenues and the alleyways, right? That song. Clair Obscur Expedition 33 has DEI with historically not accurate and overrepresented black people. Like 20% of NPCs are black. They're black, I'll tell you, they're black.
Because you're black?
That's correct. It's because I am, and because they are, but technically I'm not black, so it's all right. I like to say that. A gay couple, without doubt. Oh my God, how dare they do that? You're really reaching now. Not everything is DEI agenda pushes. At this rate, you are advocating the erasure of anything that isn't white. That's the extreme in the opposite way, dude. Here we go. Pirate Nation on X. French leftists are trying to cancel Sandfall Interactive of Clair Obscur with accusations of racism. They're grasping at straws, such as Sandfall consisting of white developers. Well, I'm going to show you something in a minute, folks. Peddling conspiracies that Sandfall are racists and are gatekeeping non-white and non-French from working at the studio. The studio consists of the bigots who were expelled from Ubisoft after its workplace harassment drama. I'm going to get into that as well ever so slightly, folks. So here is the offending article, right? So, yeah, this is Sandfall Interactive, 30 devs and only white people, which, again, not true. And it's not suspicious. They are hiring people on merit. Look, the way I see this team of developers is the way that I see YouTube at the moment, because you have your cliques, not your clicks, your cliques on YouTube. People will trust certain individuals when they open up to them. Other times they're very protective and they don't want anybody breaking that barrier, right? I understand that from personal experience. It's absolutely cool, which is why I like to think of myself as the Lone Ranger for the time being. Until I find my Tonto to accompany me, I'm just going to be riding it out on my own, folks. And apparently this all happened because there was a translated French text that when Google did do its thing, it turned out there was no basis, no receipts to say that Sandfall Interactive are absolute bigots, and it was just made out of spite, actually, which is a terrible thing to do. And I actually find it absolutely absurd. In fact, like 3 of the 4 women that you see at the beginning of the game are women.
You won. Now, don't you feel better?
Yes, much better. Thanks for asking.
Walk me to the harbour?
Not off. Yes. The way she's eyeing him up, man, it's like, wow, just get it over and done with already. Why don't you? It's not like they're forcing other genders or other people in there. And yes, you do see black NPCs, but I didn't sit there in my initial gameplay thinking, oh my God, here we go. Woke stuff again. Oh my God. Are we going to say that Resident Evil 5 is woke because, oh my God, they teamed Chris Redfield up with Sheva Alomar instead of Jill Valentine, who was under the hypnosis of Albert Wesker at the time? Of course not. No, Sheva Alomar actually turned out to be a very good character. A crappy NPC that you play with because she ends up giving you band-aids all the time when you don't need them. But she's a funny character nonetheless, which I think is great. But I want to show you this quick documentary on the official Sandfall Interactive. This is Jennifer Svedberg. So I'm assuming she's Asian and Swedish, or she's married to a Swedish guy, right? This is her. She's one of the lead writers for Clair Obscur, right? So if anybody's going to get an award this year at Jeff Keighley's Game Awards, it's going to be her. and maybe a co-writer as well. And let's just have a quick play of this. Great video, by the way. Did enjoy making this.
And that started with the hook.
Not the captain hook, but just the hook.
A massive slumbering paintress and a monolith appeared with no warning. Once a year, the paintress wakes and paints a number on her monolith, and everyone who has passed that age is erased. Every year that...
And by the way, like the team of Sandfall Interactive, even I think the music composer was someone they found on SoundCloud or Reddit just by responding to a job ad. How insane is that? So this is Guillaume. He's the CEO. He's the ex-guy at Ubisoft. And yeah, this man is an absolute genius, by the way. And he comes across as a really nice guy. And again, if you haven't seen or if you're not subscribed to Sandfall Interactive's YouTube channel, you should probably go ahead and do that. And again, I understand the beef that they don't want to get involved with regarding the supposed racism of Clair Obscur, because people I've watched online streaming this game on Twitch, all they want to do is play a great game. I haven't gotten far into it because I've got my own personal dramas to get on with in my own life at the moment, but I do want to get back into it. And I was gifted the game as well, but what I've played of it so far has been absolutely fantastic. But in this great article here by ATLV, Clair Obscur Expedition 33 director left Ubisoft because he was bored. According to Gilles Broche, it would have taken 25 years to navigate all the bureaucracy in a AAA studio just to get started on the game. Which is why when people like me were asking for a brand new Sam Fisher Splinter Cell title, we weren't getting it because Yves Guillemot is still waiting to come out of the closet and confess his sins. I still believe he and his brother allegedly committed a lot of crimes within Ubisoft. Can't prove it, but I've always had that suspicion at the back of my head. So even before Clair Obscur was a thing, and this is the type of game, by the way, that Guillaume Broche wanted to make for Ubisoft, but they were saying, nah, bro, we want to do another Assassin's Creed game. We don't have time for your crappy ideas. That's basically the context of it. And by the way, I'm fully aware that some of the older female characters in this game do wear swimsuits at some points when they're in combat, because when it comes to combat, folks, you have to be as scantily clad as possible, and I wholeheartedly approve of that. So for context, long before Sandfall was formed on Expedition 33 even crossed Broche's mind, he had already built a successful career in the gaming industry. He joined Ubisoft in 2014. I keep looking at that screen for some reason. I've got to look over here, folks. And then he joined in 2014 as a assistant creative director, moved to Microsoft in 2015 as an assistant brand manager on Xbox One, and then returned like the prodigal son to Ubisoft in 2017, where he served as an associate producer on the Ghost Recon Breakpoint and Division 2 games, as well as brand development manager and narrative lead for the Might and Magic series. That chapter of his career lasted until September 2020, when Broche left the studio to found Sandfall, a move that, in hindsight, proved to be the right one. And why did he leave, you might want to know? It's quite a simple answer, actually. He was simply bored, as opposed to simply read.
Tell us, Kirsty, what's your thought on interrelations, relationships? Would you ever date a man with a ginger ball sack?
Of course I would.
Well, that's nice to know, isn't it, lovely chin?
A real gut punch in the belly of Ubisoft, who should be called Uber Belly at this moment in time, with all the food they consume and all the shit they're churning at the other end, right? And yeah, this is what I'm talking about, folks. So every day when I'm on YouTube or I'm watching some television with my elderly mum, the first adverts you see they have to have someone of color headlining it. And it could be for something unrelated, but they have to be the first people there. That's what I hate, forced DEI. Back in my days of growing up, you never saw that. And when you saw it, it was almost kind of like refreshing. Even Blake 7 had people of diversity in there. And you thought, oh, this is a cool touch, actually.
But there's nothing there.
Zen, use long-range intensifier.
And many American TV shows of the 70s and 80s also had natural organic diversity within it. You could probably argue as well that they were made to do that because you didn't want certain groups to cry wolf that they were being underrepresented. What's happened now, of course, is that you have a certain faction of people that are just pushing for this to be a thing in games always. Again, look at Tanya DePass, the very talentless hack who worked at Monolith Studios, who couldn't even get a Wonder Woman game off the ground because she was too busy blackmailing people like CD Projekt Red and bullying them into giving her free gifts when her worthless ass could produce nothing on paper.
And then the last part is, you know, the very unfortunately vocal segment online that doesn't want anything but, you know, more COD and more.
That's a huge bitch! Gaming studios have to stop embracing too much DEI and ESG nonsense. Just dial down on it, guys. Nobody wants to see it all the time. Just make an organic experience that we can all enjoy. And again, just because a video game has a beautiful female in it doesn't make it a woke game. It can be the type of game you want it to be. I like the Lara Croft games. I love Mass Effect when I'm playing Fem Shep. I love it when I'm playing Jill Valentine in Resident Evil 3. Doesn't make it woke, it means I want to have a good time with this person. And speaking of which, folks, I'm going to give you a reaction to a trailer that I didn't know was floating around until I saw it at last night's Summer Games Fest. So I'm going to give you a reaction. But if you ended up enjoying this video today, ladies and gentlemen, make sure you give it a like, smash that subscribe button, and I'll catch you catching me for the return of the next video.
Oh, I fucking hate gingers! They should go back to where they came from, shouldn't they? Huh? Ginger bastards! I love gingers!